And when I read this headline yesterday or day before, I literally blew my top. I told my fiance, because we've been talking about a home, and I used a lot of four-letter words because I can't believe that a sitting governor of a state in the United States of America wants to take American taxpayer dollars and give them to illegals to live the American dream by buying their first home before millions of Americans have enough money to buy their first home. Your thoughts, Ron?
It's incredible. If you continue, the state of California has done this for decades now, to incentivize people who are in the country illegally with driver's license, with in-state tuition, with free tuition, with stipends to buy homes, you're just going to get more people from the third world that are going to choose California as their destination. And they are doing that. People who work for a living, people who want to keep more of the money that they make are moving out of California in record numbers. And the people that are moving in are the gang members from Venezuela and El Salvador and other parts of the world. And so if the incentives are all wrong, and they are all wrong under the Biden-Harris administration, you're going to continue to get this illicit flow at the border. And oh, by the way, the chairman of Homeland Security in the House, Mark Green, put out a statement today that 100,000 people who are illegal aliens in this country were paroled by this government just last month alone. And so the flood into the United States and into California continues unabated. And those are just encounters. That's what the so-called legal pathway that DHS put together. That doesn't count for the people who jump the fence, who are never seen by law enforcement. So if these incentives of being released in the United States will continue, then this unprecedented flow will continue as well.
But this is a town east of San Diego where OAN is based, and I live, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I've been begging ownership to let me move. But this is a gap in the wall. So they didn't finish the wall right up against this rock formation. And so I have been told tens of thousands have walked through this gap in the last few years under Biden. So you're talking about the ones that went to the port of entry and surrendered and they allowed in. How many come through these gaps in California? Again, so when they say 2 million gotaways, I'm not buying it, Ron. I double it. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe we should triple it. Because anything that comes out of the Biden and Harris regime's mouth, I'm just like, well, they're lying. They lie. That's all they do.
I agree with you. My sister lives in Potrero. The people like you that live out there know that there's always this constant threat of things that are coming in from Mexico in that part of the world. But this has been unprecedented. And it's not people from Mexico. It's not people from Central America or other places in the world looking for a better life. It's people that are taking advantage of the feckless policy of Biden-Harris, in which 85% of DHS numbers themselves, 85% of all the encounters that they get are being released. Every single child under the age of 18 is being released into the United States. Over 50,000 young men from China have come into the United States, most of them in the area that you're talking about. And so there's a huge risk that the country has taken on with this leadership in the White House under Harris and Biden. And for her now to start changing, like she's going to be some kind of hawk on the border, it's insulting to the men and women who live out there. Yeah. It's insulting to the victims of illegal aliens who've killed their daughters and their sons and their fathers. It's an insult to anybody that's been paying attention to what they've done as it relates to the policy on the border. Look what happened to me in the nomination hearing. She was supposed to be vetting my qualifications. She took her time, her 5 minutes, to call the men and women of ICE just for the fact of doing their job. She likened them to the KKK. When the Horse Patrol in Del Rio was given the impossible task to organize what was going on the ground in Del Rio, when tens of thousands of Haitians came across the border, pretty much in 5 or 8 days. She threw them right under the bus.
I remember.
An attorney, somebody who was the attorney general that knows what the rule of law is and due process. She threw them right under the bus. She cares little to nothing about Americans, because if she did, she would have started taking on this problem when she was given the task in 2021. A lot of Americans are paying attention. Some are not. The ones that are not paying attention, I don't think they're going to be fooled by all of these lies. You know, one of the aspects of Donald Trump that everybody loves is he's a genuine person.
Yes.
We might not always like the way he says things, but when he says things, it comes from his heart. He believes it. And in her case, it's all lies. It's all subterfuge. It's all her trying to pretend to be better than she is, because we know what a disaster she's been for the last 3.5 years.